morning, students. We are still on the topic of fractions, but today we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting fractions. Okay, so we are able to add and subtract fractions if the denominators are the same. Okay, so for example, we can add these two fractions quite easily because the denominators, the numbers at the bottom, they are the same. So we simply add the two numerators. 1 plus 2 is 3, and then we write back the denominator. So our answer would be 1 plus 2, 3 over 7. So 1 out of 7 parts plus 2 out of 7 parts gives you 3 out of 7 parts. Okay, let's do an example with subtraction. I'm just trying to show you that the process is the same except for the sign. So 5 over 7 minus 2 over 7. Again, we can subtract fractions when the denominators are the same. We simply subtract the numerators. So 5 take away 2 equals 3, and that goes over the original denominator. So 5 over 7 take away 2 over 7. The answer is 3 over 7. Now, how do we subtract or add fractions when the denominators are different? Okay, so I'm going to change my denominator here. And we're going to see how we would actually go about adding these fractions. Okay, so let me do 1 over 3 and 2 over 5. Okay, so as we can see, the numbers at the bottom are different, the denominators are different. We cannot add fractions if the denominators are different. So we have to find what is called the LCM. And the LCM means the lowest common multiple. We are going to look at the multiples of 3, the multiples of 5, and see what multiple is common to both. So let me just do that over here. So 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, 3 times 5, 3 times 6. Okay, and we do the same thing for 5. 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3, 5 times 4. And of course, if you have it in the back of your notebooks, you can always look at that. Or if you know your multiplication tables, then it's easy to know what the multiples would be. 5 ones, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Okay? I'm just making it graphic so you can see exactly what we should do. So again, like I said, we're looking for the multiples of 3. Here are the multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. And then we're looking for the multiples of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Now, as I said, we are trying to find the LCM, which is the lowest common multiple of 3 and 5. So let us look at the multiples of 3 and the multiples of 5 and see if there is a common multiple. Is there a number here that you also see over here? And when I look, I see the number 15 is common to both, okay? If we had continued our 3 times table, we would have seen other multiples that are similar, but I didn't have to go all the way down. So 15 is a common multiple of both 3 and 5. So this, again, this is my format. This is how I teach my students. Your teacher, of course, may teach in a different way. And that's fine because we're all going to end up with the same answer, okay? So now we have 3 and 5, but the common multiple is 15. So how do I get my denominators to become 15, right? Remember we said that if we're adding fractions and subtracting fractions, the numbers at the bottom must be the same, okay? So again, we we found the LCM. 50 is a common multiple of both 3 and 5, so we're going to be using 15 as our new denominators. Now, how do I get from 3 to 15? Okay, what do I do to 3 to get 15? I multiply it by 5, okay? And the other thing to note is that we have to make sure that the fraction remains equivalent. So anything you do to the denominator, you also have to do to the numerator. So I also have to multiply the numerator by 5. Now I need to also change this fraction so that the denominator is 15. What do I multiply 5 by to get 15? The answer is 3. And anything I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator so that the fraction remains equivalent, having the same value as the original fraction. So let me now put my two new fractions on the board. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay? 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 3 is 15. So now that we have both denominators being the same, we can now add our fractions. So 5 plus 6 is 11, and then that goes over our denominator of 15. So the answer would be 11 over 15. So when we add 1 over 3 plus 2 over 5, our answer is 11 over 5. Alright, so let's work another example. Alright, so let's do a half plus 3 over 4. Again, we cannot add fractions if the numbers at the bottom are different, right? If our denominators are different, we cannot simply go ahead and add the fractions. We have to find the LCM. So of course, we're going to find the LCM now of 2 and 4. Again, like I said, you don't have to do this table that I'm doing. I'm just making it visible for you to see how I find the LCM for the numbers. You have the back of your book, or you should learn your multiplication tables so that you can easily find or easily identify the multiples for each, okay? And notice I'm just writing the multiples on the board, okay? And you can go as far as you need to go, but because I already know what the answer is going to be, I'm not really going very far. Alright, so now, again, like I said, we have to find the LCM of these two numbers. So we're going to look at the multiples of 2 and the multiples of 4 to see what is common to both. We want the lowest common multiple. So we look at the multiples of 2. We look to see what's common here that's also over here. So I look and I see that 4 is common to both. I also see that 8 is common to both. But in this case, we are looking for the lowest. So what's the smallest number that's common to both? The answer is 4. Okay? So we're going to use 4 as our denominator. So how do we change these numbers, right? So that they reflect our new denominator. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to, how do we change 2 to make it 4? We multiply it by 2. Alright, whatever we do to the bottom, we also have to do to the top. And what do we multiply 4 by to get 4? 1. Okay, we didn't have to change this fraction, but just because we want to practice the steps, I'm making sure that we do the same thing. So we multiply 4 by 1 to get 4, so we also have to multiply 3 by 1 so that the fraction remains the same. So let's write our new fractions now. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3 over 4 times 1 is 4. Alright, so now we have our denominators being the same. We can go ahead and add our fractions. So 2 plus 3 is 5 over our denominator, 4. Okay? So the answer will be 5 over 4. And we can simplify this, right? How many groups of 4? We're basically dividing 5 by 4. How many groups of 4 we can get out of 5? The answer is 1. The remainder is 1. And that goes over the original denominator. So by simplifying our answer, we get 1 and 1 over 4. Okay, so the examples we just worked were for addition of fractions. Remember I said that addition and subtraction of fractions is the same format except that you add or you subtract. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be doing two examples with mixed numbers. And again, like I said, there are different ways to do fractions with mixed numbers, and this is my format just because I think this makes it easier for the students to understand. Okay, so I'm going to do one with mixed numbers for addition. I'm going to make it very simple. Okay, and then I'm going to do one with subtraction so you see how both work. Okay, so we're going to be adding fractions, mixed numbers, right? Again, we first need to change them to improper fractions. I find that's easier to work with than mixed numbers. Okay, so 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3 over 2. I'm just rewriting the fractions, right? 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3. Okay, so these are the two fractions we're trying to add. I already have the multiples on the board, so I'm just going to go quickly to the multiples. Remember, we have to find the lowest common multiple of these two numbers. And so we will find what is a common multiple of 3 and 2. Again, what's common to 3 and what's common to the multiples of 2? The answer is 6. Okay, that's a multiple of both 3 and 2. So I now need to change 2 and 3 so that the denominator is 6. Okay, so I multiply the 2 by 3, that will give me 6. And I also have to do the same to the number at the top. Okay, whatever you do to the bottom, you also have to do to the top. What do I multiply 3 by to give 6? The answer is 2. I also have to do the same thing to the number at the top. So my new fractions would be 9, 3 times 3, over 6, 2 times 3, 7 times 2, 14, over 6 times 2, sorry, 3 times 2, that's 6. So now that my denominators are the same, I can go ahead and add these fractions. So 9 plus 14, the answer is 23, and that goes over 6. Again, we can change this to mixed number, okay? How many groups of 6 can you get out of 23? The answer is 3, right? 3 groups of 6, that's 18. So the remainder is 5, and that goes over 6, okay? So there you have it, adding mixed numbers. Now we're going to do an example where we subtract, okay? So now we're going to, let me take this off so it doesn't confuse you guys. So now we're going to be doing a subtraction, okay? So let me think of one real quickly. 2 and 1 over 4. I'm trying to make sure I use the numbers that are on the board so that it makes it easier. Minus 1 and 1 over 3. Again, when we're subtracting, just like addition, we cannot subtract when the numbers at the bottom are different. But before we get to that step, we have to first change our improper fractions to, we have to change our mixed numbers to improper fractions. So let's do that quickly. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 plus 1 is 9 over 4. That's our first fraction. We're just rewriting it as an improper fraction. The sign stays the same. 3 times 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4 over 3. So we simply rewrote our fractions as is. Alright, we simply rewrote our mixed numbers as improper fractions. Now we get to the step where we have to find the LCM so that our denominators are the same. We cannot add or subtract fractions if the denominators are different. So let us find the lowest common multiple, the LCM of 3 and 4. Okay? So let's look at our multiples here. What is a multiple of 3? That's also a multiple of 4, right? We want to find the lowest number that's common to both 4 and 3. When I look at the multiples of 3 and the multiples of 4, I find that the LCM, the lowest common multiple, is 12, okay? So now we have to change our denominators to 12. How do we do that? How do we get from 4 to 12? We multiply by 3. And we also have to do the same to our numerator. So we multiply the bottom number, the denominator, by 3. We also multiply the numerator by 3. So in order for this to be 12, we have to multiply this by 4. And so we have to do the same to the number at the top. Okay? So now we have our fractions. We're gonna rewrite them so that we see what numbers we're working with. So 9 times 3, that's 27 over 12. Put back the subtraction sign. Then 4 times 4 is 16. And then that goes over 12 as well. So now we have our fractions that we are now going to be subtracting. So 27 take away 16, of course you can do that on paper or however you need to do that with your fingers or whatever. So 27 take away 16 leaves 11, and that goes over 12. So our answer will be, when we subtract 2 and a quarter minus 1 over 3, the answer is 11 over 12. Just a reminder, you cannot add or subtract fractions unless the denominators are the same. So you have to find the LCM, which means lowest common multiple. Okay, that's what it stands for.